Humpback whale attacks woman in open ocean, leading to an unbelievable twist. The vast, mysterious expanse of the South Pacific, home to some of the most awe-inspiring creatures on Earth. This is the setting for one of the most mind-boggling encounters ever recorded in the deep blue sea. It's the kind of story that will make you question everything you thought you knew about the ocean's gentle giants. And it begins with a woman, an expert in marine biology, who thought she knew the sea like the back of her hand. But one fateful day, in the crystal-clear waters off the coast of Rarotonga Island in the Cook Islands, something incredible happened. Something so unexpected that it would change her life forever. Imagine this. You're floating on the surface of the ocean, the sun shining down, the water calm and inviting. The peace of the sea is almost too perfect, until, without warning, the tranquility is shattered. From beneath the surface, something massive erupts, so powerful, so forceful, that it hurls you into the air. You don't know whether it's a dream, a nightmare, or something in between. You feel yourself falling, spinning through the air, before crashing back into the water. In a split second, your heart races with terror as you realize it's no ordinary encounter. You've just been attacked by one of the largest creatures on Earth, a humpback whale. That's exactly what happened to Nan Hauser, a renowned marine biologist with over 3 decades of experience. Nan had spent years in the water, studying whales and dolphins, learning their behaviors, and documenting their astonishing intelligence. She had swum alongside these magnificent creatures countless times, but never in her wildest dreams did she expect to find herself fighting for her life in the same waters that had once felt so familiar. What happened next in those dark, endless depths will leave you in disbelief. Nan's heart pounded as the massive whale began to drag her under the surface. She was trapped beneath its enormous body, in excruciating pain from sharp barnacles and shells, her snorkel mask threatening to flood. The water grew colder, the pressure mounting, and every instinct screamed that this was the end. But then, as if by some miraculous twist of fate, the whale did something no one would have expected, something that defies all logic. It was as though the whale had realized that Nan was not its prey, but something worth saving. What happened next would go beyond anything Nan had ever experienced. Something so incredible, it would change everything she thought she knew about whales. You might wonder, why would a whale, capable of sinking ships with a single blow, care enough to save a human? What was behind this strange behavior? Was it a chance encounter, or something deeper, something more profound? For Nan, this moment would mark the beginning of a story that defied all understanding. A story that would blur the lines between human and animal, between fear and hope, and between survival and sacrifice. But that's not all. The tale doesn't end with her rescue. It takes another turn, one that will tug at your heartstrings, challenge your perceptions of the ocean's creatures, and leave you wondering about the unspoken bond between humans and nature. What happens when the whale that saved her life reappears a year later, in a way no one could ever predict? Whales are among the most magnificent and mysterious creatures to ever grace the Earth. Known for their sheer size and strength, these marine giants can grow up to 100 feet long and weigh as much as 200 tons. Despite their intimidating size, whales are gentle beings with complex behaviors and social structures. They communicate through sophisticated songs, navigate the oceans using echolocation, and demonstrate a remarkable sense of empathy and intelligence. Their migratory patterns, the way they care for their young, and their ability to form tight-knit family units have long fascinated scientists and animal enthusiasts alike. One of the most intriguing species of whale is the humpback whale, renowned for its acrobatic displays and haunting songs. These whales travel thousands of miles every year, often swimming between feeding and breeding grounds in the cold waters of the north and the warmer tropical waters in the south. Their size and graceful movements in the water have earned them a revered status among marine creatures. However, there's still much that remains unknown about these majestic animals and their incredible ability to connect with their environment. For over 3 decades, Nan Hauser, an Australian marine biologist, has dedicated her life to studying the behavior of whales. Her passion for the ocean and its creatures began at a young age, growing up near the beach where she would often explore the mysteries of the sea. Her grandmother would jokingly warn her, "Be careful, don't get swallowed by a whale." Little did Nan know that those playful words would later take on a life of their own. Nan pursued a career in marine biology, diving into research on whales and dolphins. She became a leading expert in her field, conducting countless dives in the Cook Islands and the Bahamas, where she studied the migratory patterns and behaviors of humpback whales. Her life's work has revolved around building a deep understanding of these incredible creatures and their interactions with the ocean. It was an ordinary sunny afternoon off the coast of Rarotonga Island, a place Nan Hauser, the experienced marine biologist, knew intimately. Nan had spent over 3 decades studying the behavior of marine life, especially whales, in these very waters. That day, she had been filming a documentary about the majestic humpback whales, capturing their graceful movements as they navigated the crystal-clear Pacific Ocean. The water was calm, the sky a perfect shade of blue, and everything seemed peaceful, almost too peaceful. As the day was winding down, Nan's director asked her to enter the water for one final shot. Despite being exhausted from a long day of filming, Nan agreed without hesitation. She had spent years swimming alongside these creatures and was used to the water's cool embrace. She donned her snorkel gear, slipped into the ocean, and began swimming a short distance away from the boat, unaware that this would be the most terrifying moment of her career. It was then that she noticed something unusual in the distance, a dark shadow looming beneath the surface, heading directly toward her. Her heart skipped a beat as she realized that it wasn't just any sea creature. It was a humpback whale, and it was approaching her with alarming speed. Nan, startled, immediately raised her hand, hoping to signal the whale to stop. But instead of halting, the whale charged forward, its immense size becoming more and more intimidating the closer it got. In an instant, the whale collided with her, lifting her off the water's surface with incredible force. The sheer power of the animal sent her flying into the air, and before she could even process what had just happened, she plunged back into the water. The force of the impact left her disoriented, and before she could regain her bearings, the whale's massive body submerged beneath the surface, dragging her with it. Nan was now trapped beneath the whale. Its immense fins swirled around her, pulling her deeper and deeper into the water. Pain shot through her body as sharp barnacles and jagged shells, attached to the whale's skin, scraped against her exposed flesh. In that moment, her snorkel mask felt like a lifeline, but it was also becoming a terrifying obstacle as she struggled to breathe and keep her head above water. Each movement she made was futile, as the whale's body was so massive that it easily overwhelmed her. Fear gripped her heart as she realized the severity of the situation. She had studied whales for years, and though she had witnessed their behaviors countless times, never had she encountered such aggression. This wasn't the calm, graceful behavior she'd come to expect from these gentle giants. The whale's movements were erratic, unpredictable, almost as if it was trying to overpower her. With every second that passed, she felt herself losing control, pulled deeper into the dark depths. Despite the searing pain and overwhelming fear, Nan knew that the situation was becoming more desperate by the second. She could feel her energy draining, and the thought crossed her mind that this might be the end. This wasn't just an ordinary encounter. It felt like a battle for survival. But just when Nan thought she couldn't take any more, the whale did something that would completely change the course of this life-threatening moment. As Nan struggled to stay afloat and desperately tried to avoid the whale's enormous fins, something in the whale's behavior began to change. The frantic panic that gripped her slowly began to shift into confusion. For the first time since the attack began, she had a moment to observe the whale more closely. Its eyes, wide and almost frantic, met hers for a brief second, and in that moment, something clicked. This wasn't just a random attack. There was something else at play here. The whale was acting erratically, but it wasn't just out of aggression. It seemed distressed, even desperate. The whale's massive body, which had once been pulling her under the water with terrifying force, suddenly seemed to hesitate. Nan noticed the animal shifting its movements, spinning in circles, and slapping the water with its tail, almost as though it were trying to get her attention. The creature wasn't trying to harm her, it was trying to communicate. But to Nan's astonishment, What came next was even more shocking. As the whale spun in the water, Nan's heart raced as she realized she was no longer alone. From the depths of the ocean, a new shadow emerged. At first, she thought it was another whale, perhaps a companion of the whale that had attacked her. But as the creature drew closer, her heart sank. This wasn't another humpback whale. This was something far more dangerous. A massive tiger shark, the kind of predator she had feared encountering in the open ocean. The shark, its powerful tail moving from side to side, was enormous, bigger than any shark Nan had ever seen in her years of diving. Its dark eyes locked onto her, and Nan knew instinctively that she was in immediate danger. The shark was closing in on her fast, its hunger and aggression palpable as it honed in on her fragile form in the water. Nan had no time to think, only to react, as the reality of the situation hit her like a punch to the gut. There was no way out. Just as the shark prepared to strike, the whale, still seemingly distressed, acted in a way that no one, least of all Nan, could have predicted. In an instant, the humpback whale lunged toward the shark, positioning itself between Nan and the predator. With the sheer force of its head, the whale threw Nan into the air, propelling her toward the safety of the boat, just as the tiger shark snapped its jaws, missing her by mere inches. As Nan was flung through the air, she could hardly believe what had just happened. The whale had not been attacking her at all. It had been trying to protect her from the shark. What had seemed like an aggressive encounter was, in fact, a desperate and protective act. The whale, driven by something far beyond Nan's understanding, had saved her life from the jaws of a deadly predator. It was a revelation that left Nan breathless with awe and gratitude. The whale, a creature she had studied for so long, had just shown her the true depth of its intelligence and compassion. As Nan flew through the air, propelled by the force of the humpback whale's powerful head, her body was momentarily weightless. She could feel the wind rush past her as she sailed toward the boat, her heart racing. Her mind barely had time to register the astonishing events unfolding around her. The shark, now circling below, snapped its jaws viciously at the space where Nan had been just moments earlier. But the whale had acted in the nick of time, throwing Nan out of the danger zone and away from the predator's reach. The whale's heroic intervention was beyond comprehension. At first, Nan had thought she was simply caught in the whale's chaotic behavior, but now it was clear. The whale had been fighting to protect her. The moment the shark had appeared, the whale had positioned itself between Nan and the predator, using its massive body to shield her from the imminent threat. It had thrown her into the air not out of aggression, but with a sense of urgency, knowing that Nan needed to escape the danger before it was too late. As Nan splashed back into the water, she was overwhelmed with a sense of relief. Her chest heaved as she gasped for air, her heart still pounding from the adrenaline. She swam toward the boat as quickly as she could, her arms weak from the struggle. The crew on board, who had been watching in horror as the drama unfolded, quickly pulled her out of the water, offering their hands and pulling her to safety. As she collapsed on the deck, gasping for breath, she looked out at the ocean, where the whale had now retreated to a safe distance. What had just occurred was nothing short of miraculous. The whale, once seen as a threat, had become her protector. Nan could hardly believe it. In all her years of studying whales, she had never encountered anything like this. These majestic creatures, known for their intelligence and social behavior, had shown her an unexpected depth of empathy. The whale had recognized the threat, understood her vulnerability, and acted selflessly to protect her. Tears welled up in Nan's eyes as she sat on the boat, her body trembling from both the shock and the incredible sense of gratitude that washed over her. She whispered softly, as if speaking to the whale that had just saved her life. "Thank you. Thank you for saving me." She could not have known it then, but this moment would change her forever. It wasn't just a life-saving act. It was a bond formed between two creatures of the sea, a bond that transcended the barriers between species. As the boat drifted back toward the shore, Nan kept her eyes on the water, hoping to catch one last glimpse of the whale that had risked everything for her. But the whale had already disappeared beneath the surface, returning to the vast ocean it called home. Nan knew, deep in her heart, that the encounter was no accident. It had been a moment of pure, unspoken communication, a reminder that sometimes, even in the most unexpected of circumstances, acts of heroism can come from the most unlikely sources. As the boat slowly made its way back toward the shore, Nan sat quietly at the bow, her thoughts swirling in a whirlwind of emotions. The encounter with the whale had left her deeply moved, as it was so much more than a reunion. It was a reminder of the profound, unspoken connection that can exist between humans and animals. She had spent decades studying whales, researching their behavior and communicating with them in ways few others had ever experienced. But nothing had prepared her for this moment. The whale's return was a testament to the bond they had shared, a bond that transcended words and logic, one based on empathy, trust, and something much deeper. As Nan looked out over the vast ocean, she reflected on the many years she had spent diving into its depths, learning from its creatures, and witnessing the wonders of the natural world. Her passion for marine biology had always been driven by a desire to understand the complex and mysterious world beneath the waves. But after that day, Nan realized that it wasn't just about understanding. It was about feeling, experiencing, and connecting. The whales, the dolphins, the sharks, and all the other creatures she had encountered over the years had taught her invaluable lessons about life, survival, and the intricate web of relationships that binds all living things together. The moment the whale saved her from the tiger shark was not just a miraculous escape. It was a powerful reminder of the intelligence and emotional depth that animals possess. The whale had not only acted instinctively but had shown an incredible awareness of Nan's vulnerability. It had protected her not out of obligation, but out of compassion. Nan knew that no matter how much science could explain about whale behavior, there would always be something mysterious and magical about these creatures. The connection she shared with that whale could never be fully understood or articulated. It simply was. She also thought about the love she felt in that moment when the whale had returned, when it had swum toward her with no hesitation, allowing her to hold onto its massive head as if acknowledging the bond they shared. The tears that filled her eyes that day were not just tears of joy but of a deep gratitude for the life she had been given, for the protection the whale had offered, and for the opportunity to witness such a rare and beautiful connection between species. Love, Nan thought, is something you can't explain, but you can certainly feel it. Her connection to that whale was more than just a fleeting moment of human-animal interaction. It was a reminder that love and empathy could exist in the most unexpected places. As humans, we often look for signs of affection and compassion in our own species. But Nan had learned that the natural world was full of incredible beings capable of the same emotions and connections we experience. Nan had spent much of her life studying whales, but in those precious moments in the water with the whale, she had discovered something even more important than scientific knowledge: the power of empathy and the deep connection that binds all living creatures. The whale's actions had taught her that even in the most dangerous and unexpected situations, love and compassion could emerge, breaking down the barriers between species and uniting them in ways that words could never fully describe. As the boat sailed back toward the harbor, Nan knew that the whale would always be with her, in her heart and in her mind. Its return had been a gift, one that she would cherish forever. She couldn't help but believe that their paths would cross again one day. After all, in a world so vast and full of mystery, anything was possible. With a final glance at the ocean, Nan whispered softly, "Thank you. I'll never forget you." The whale had not only saved her life but had shown her that sometimes the greatest lessons come from the most unexpected of places, and in that moment, Nan felt a deep sense of peace, knowing that the bond they shared was eternal. Nan Hauser's extraordinary journey with the humpback whale serves as a powerful reminder of the unseen, often unexplainable bonds that connect all living creatures. What began as a terrifying encounter in the vast expanse of the South Pacific turned into a remarkable story of empathy, protection, and connection. The whale's heroic act of saving Nan from a tiger shark, followed by its unexpected return a year later, showed that the natural world holds mysteries that go beyond our comprehension. It is a world where animals are not just instinct-driven beings, but creatures capable of compassion and deep emotional understanding. For Nan, the whale's actions were a profound realization of everything she had spent her life studying. Whales are not just majestic giants of the sea. They are sentient beings with the capacity to feel, protect, and care. Nan's reflections on her experience go beyond the realm of science. They touch on something deeply personal and spiritual, reminding us all that our connection to nature is not just about observation, but about deep, mutual respect and love. The return of the whale was not just a physical reunion. It was a symbolic moment of healing, love, and gratitude. As Nan embraced the whale once again, surrounded by her team, tears in her eyes, she realized that this story was not just hers to tell. It was a message to the world that every living being, no matter how big or small, has a role to play in the greater story of life. Nan's incredible experience serves as a testament to the unexpected wonders of nature and the importance of our relationship with the animals that share our planet. As we continue to explore, study, and protect the ocean and its creatures, stories like Nan's remind us that there is still much we don't understand, and perhaps that's what makes the world even more magical. The whale's return is a story of hope, love, and the undeniable truth that, sometimes, the most incredible moments in life are the ones that can't be explained, only felt. As Nan Hauser continues her work as a marine biologist, she carries the unforgettable lesson of that humpback whale. Sometimes, nature's greatest gift is not a lesson in science, but a lesson in the pure, transformative power of love.